everyone, today I'm here to do a book review, and today I'm talking about Queen of Shadows by Sarah J. Maas. This is the fourth book in the Throne of Glass series, so if you have not read any of these books, please do not watch this video because you'll be spoiled so much, and I don't want that for you because this series is amazing and you really need to read it before you watch spoiler videos. Obviously, I'll talk a little bit briefly about unspoilers, about what I thought about it in general, and then I'm going to get into Spoiler City. So, if you have read the series up until this point, I will let you know when you cannot watch anymore when I talk about this book. And if you haven't read the series at all, you got to go. You got to read this series because it's amazing. Anyway, let's talk about briefly what I thought about this book in general. No spoilers. So overall, I really like this book. If I could give it a rating, I would give it a 4 out of 5. You're probably gasping because everyone loves this book, but there are some quirks about this book that I don't really like, and I'll get into later in the video, and it really knocked it down a star for me. And those are character developments weren't that great in this book. Some characters were destructed in this book. Some characters I feel like didn't make a lot of development. And number two, I feel like some of the romance in this book was kind of, I didn't really enjoy it for that much, so that's what really knocked it down a star for me. But overall, let's talk about it as a whole. The plot, amazing. It kept me on my toes, it kept me interested. There was no time I was reading this where I was bored. The pacing was phenomenal. Like I said, there was no time I read this where I was bored. I felt like it maintained a really good pace, obviously with really big peaks when it comes to a really big plot point. The pacing was just phenomenal. The characters, there was a lot of characters which I loved. There were some new characters in this book. There was, obviously our old characters. A lot of them I liked. There was a couple that I just really didn't feel like did great with the development, but overall, this book was amazing. I think the plot twists were awesome, the plot in general was great, and I still really enjoyed this book despite some of its flaws, which it does have flaws, I'm not gonna lie to you, and there were some flaws that I just can't get over. There was just some flaws in it that I just really can't get over. I'm going to talk more detail, but overall, you need to read this series. It's such a great, high, epic fantasy reading that'll keep you on the edge of your seat, and it'll keep you guessing, and it'll keep you wanting more, and it's just an awesome series. So that's it for my spoiler-free review. If you have not read this book, if you have not read it, you have to go. I don't want to spoil it for you. Read it, and then you can come back and we can talk about it together. So, spoilers beginning now. So, first, I'm going to talk about some of the key points in this book. I'm going to start with the good things, and I'm going to talk about the not so good things. Okay, so we'll keep it on a high note as of right now. So, the first big thing in this was aliens, and I'm going to pronounce things wrong, so just forgive me. Don't yell at me, because I'm a horrible pronunciation person. The big thing was obviously Alien's rescue, and I thought that was great. I love how she had teamed up with Arabin, and you know that he cannot be trusted. You constantly think, is he gonna do something? Is he gonna betray her? Is he gonna just do something? And that whole thing just kept you on the edge of your seat, and the whole rescue was just awesome. Like, my heart was pounding. I'm like, are they gonna accomplish it? Are they finally actually gonna be together again? Like, are cousin and cousin gonna finally reunite, and it's gonna be awesome? And it happened, and I thought the rescue scene was just awesome. I thought it was pulled off greatly, and so I really like that. And then we have a whole bunch of other stuff. Let's talk about Manon. Is that how you say her name? Manon? No. Mayon? Oh, crap. I forget how you pronounce her name. I'm just going to call her Manon because it's easy for me, so I know I'm saying that wrong, so forgive me. I really was not too interested in her character in HEIR where she was introduced in her 13 and the wyverns and all that stuff. Like, I was like, I don't know why this is in here. I really didn't understand it. But holy crap, did I enjoy it in this book. I loved reading about her character development and how she's such a hard-edged type of person. She's like an iron witch. She's a blackbeat. She's got all this really raw coarseness and just a lot of evil flowing through her, but you see her and you're rooting for her to understand and get the bigger picture that things are changing, and you see her develop so amazing, and I really love Man. I really love seeing her character development and how she interacted with the lead, and I love a lead story and how, she was sacrificed, or her mom sacrificed herself for Aelin, and it's such an awesome plot, and I loved reading more about the witches, and I really can't wait to see what happens to them in the next book. Like, are they gonna, meet up with Aelin and then start this huge thing, and they're gonna just team up, and it's gonna be awesome. I just really enjoyed seeing their side in this book. And throughout this whole book, Dorian has a black prince inside him, and his chapters are very, very short. You see him thinking about struggling, but the demon prince just sucks him back inside, and it makes your heart wrench. Like, I love Dorian. Dorian is a very awesome character, and reading that, I was like, oh my gosh. But then when the whole epic finale was amazing. I know there's going to be a lot of things that I'm not going to be talking about. Lysandra, let's talk about Lysandra. I will admit, I have yet to read Assassin's Blade. I know you can slap me right now. I know I should have read it before reading this book. I understand that now, but I was halfway through and I was like, oh crap, I should have read that book first. But I will read it right after this one. So apparently Lysandra was a part of Aelin's past, Selena, whatever you want to call her, and she gets brought back, but I didn't know her from the past. I only knew her from then. So I could understand that she was a shady character in the past, but man, was she awesome. And I really loved her and Aelin's friendship together because homegirl needs some girlfriends in her life. I know some girls have lots of guy friends, that's great, but you need a couple of girlfriends to get by, okay? I know. But I really loved seeing her and her being a shapeshifter and her coming back as a ghost leopard at the end. Oh, that was so amazing. She is such an awesome character that she's going to be a lady of the court now, and I'm just so excited, and I think she's a very strong character, and I can't wait to read more about her. Let's talk about the Aelin fight. Holy crap, was that not an amazing fight? Like, the whole time, I was like, this is great. Like, this is an awesome fight. And they were both such strong-willed, strong girls fighting beating the crap out of each other, pretty much. And I loved at the end, Aelin's like, you are too good of a fighter for me to kill. Like, you're too good to die off a cliff. If you're gonna go down, you're gonna go down fighting, not fighting off a cliff. So she pretty much saved her life. And, you know, she's like, you owe me a favor later. And then later, when in the market, there's like, somebody's like, there's some weird notes written all around, and nobody can understand what they are. And I'm like, this is from her. This is from her. This is her favor. She's letting you know. And then, of course, it was like, witch hunter, witch killer, the prince is still inside. I was like, oh my gosh, that changed everything. It was just so awesome. I could see a huge alliance forming between them, and I think it's great. And I think it's going to be a great alliance, but I think they're going to butt heads because they're both very strong-willed females, and that's just going to be interesting to read. That was great. I love that whole fight scene's probably one of my favorite of the whole book. And then the end was awesome. The last 200 pages was just gut-wrenching, so much crap happening. It was awesome, you know, with Dorian and then Kale and them seeing all that stuff, like, and freeing Dorian finally, and then him killing his dad, and then learning that Dorian's power is infinite. Like, Rowan saw it, and he was like, this power is infinite. Like, he could wipe out nations with this power. And so I'm interested to see how it's going to play in the next book. Like, you know, is he going to learn how to control his power? Because I think Dorian is ultimately a very good guy, but I think he has a lot of rage in him. He's seen a lot of horrible things, much like a lot of our characters in this book. And sometimes I think maybe his power might get the better of him, so he really needs to train and learn how to harness it and keep it in check. But I think that's awesome. I love that whole scene. And the end, and you realizing that controlled by, like, the demon, I learned that Erlon is free. He's living in Duke Parrington's body, and he's just very nestled snug in there, and that Erlon's minion took over the king. And we don't know how exactly long this has been building up, but I don't know what to believe about that. I feel like this dude has done a lot of bad things. Like, he is really controlled. I didn't really see him fighting it at all. You know, of course, we saw in the book Dorian struggle with it, but, you know, did people outside of that really see him struggling with it? Not really. Like, they didn't know until Manon had told them that the prince was still inside him. They thought that it was done. Like, it was pretty much erased. Of the king being controlled, it's like I want to believe it, but I can't because that dude's just so downright evil. Yuan, whatever his name is, I pronounced that wrong, is stuck in Duke Parrington's body. I don't know. We don't really get too much of Duke Parrington, so I really don't know. I watched Katie Tassick's video, and she said that she thinks that the Erlon could be in Holland's body, and I was like, that's interesting. And I didn't really think about Holland. Nobody does, because he's Dorian's younger brother, he's just straight up evil. But that could be an interesting plot point, and I would really like to see what happens. I thought that was a great theory she thought of, and that'd be interesting. But Duke Parrington could be the bad guy. I don't know. We don't know. It's just, I don't know. But the whole end scene, that was just awesome. And then we finally get closure, and everyone's going to Tesserin, and the last page is Aelin being home finally in Tesserin. That was just awesome. So this book has a lot of strong, amazing things about it. Overall, I really still enjoyed it because of all those things I mentioned, like all this action, all this great plot twist, all this character development. You know, things are finally coming to an arc in this series. You know, you're seeing results. You're seeing things happen. You're seeing people killed. You're seeing evil get a little bit banished. You know, a lot of things happen in this book. Erebin, that guy died. The king died. You know, Aelin's got free. Closure with some characters. But there were some flaws in it, which I'm going to talk about now, that I didn't really enjoy it for that. So the first thing, the number one thing I really did not like about this book was the complete and utter destruction of Kale. I have loved Kale since the beginning. Yes, I will admit, I am a Kale and Aelin, Selena shipper. or I'm on their team, okay? I like them. I've always liked them. I really feel like they're a strong point. Now, of course, what happened in the end of Crown of Midnight, I was like, well, this is pretty much done. And then when HEIR, when Rowan was introduced, I was like, yeah, this is done. And then when this book came out, I was like, yeah, there's no turning back with this. I think that he was just demolished in this book. Like, when I was reading this book, I was like, this is not Chaol. Who is this? This is not the guy I have loved for the last 3 books. I have loved Chaol. I feel like he's a very strong, admirable character, and I've loved him. I just will keep saying that, but I do. And a lot of people are not mad about him, about this book, but I'm like, this is not Chaol. Who is this guy? And I feel like he was written for you not to like him, so you would finally be 100% sure to be like, I'm leaving Chaol and Celaena behind. They're no more. Chaol's a jerk. He's a dick now. Forget him, and you're just going to be like, well, I accept Rowan. I feel like he was written horribly, so you would accept Rowan more. And I don't like that. I do not like that. I just didn't feel like he should have been written like that. I felt like he had some valid points about magic and stuff, but it just wasn't him. And I get that people change and some people get bitter and stuff, but I feel like it was just such a complete turn of who this person is, and I feel like he was deliberately written for you to hate him so you would like Rowan, and I don't like that. I don't like that. So I was not happy with the development of Chaol. And of course at the end, when Chaol like died for a second, I was so upset. I was like, really? You're really just gonna cut him off? I was like, really? We're just gonna cut him off? We're gonna end him? Because that way you will really accept Rowan. I didn't feel like that was the best way to go. And then finally, you know, she had slipped the amulet in his pocket the whole time, and I was like, that's just so awesome. And it just, I just felt like he was, it's like Maureen said, he was sacrificed for the ship. He was sacrificed as a character for Aelin and Roland, and I do not like that. I felt like it was horrible. And let's talk about Nesserin, the girl in this book, who was pretty much only in this book so Chaol could move on. So Chaol could be like, I think I'm done with Aelin, you know, I'll have a love interest now. I don't like that. I mean, geez, just let him be alone. Let him do whatever. Like, we don't have to introduce another character for him, and we don't have to introduce another love for him. I didn't like that. I did not like that. Now, I understand that the Chaol Aelin thing is done. I get it. But I'm not going to lie. There's a big chunk of me that's still hoping, that's still like clinging on to some hope that something will happen. Do I think that's going to happen? No, but there's a big chunk of me. So now let's talk about Rowan, the Rowan Aelin thing. Obviously, I can see how it's a good fit. I get that. I just felt like it was pushed on us in this book. Like, it was like, you will like Rowan. You will like Rowan. You will like Rowan. And I'm like, I like Rowan, but I mean, like, I just felt like everything happened so freaking fast. Like, at least with Chaol and them, we had a good couple books build up, but then with this Rowan, it was like the 3rd book, it was like, wham, bam, we're together, we like each other, all that stuff. I did not really enjoy that. But, I mean, I like Rowan and Aelin, I get it. I do feel like there's some faults in that relationship. I'll talk about that in a little bit, but I just felt like it was just pushed on us. And it was pushed on us even more because Chaol was such not himself in this book, so it really made you want to like Rowan more, but it was just not him. So I felt like there could have been a lot more Rowan in this book, like Rowan by himself, Rowan putting up a strong arm. The whole book, I felt like Rowan and Aiden were very protective of Aelin, which I get, but I feel like they were just so like, we have to protect you, we have to protect you, we have to protect you. I'm like, this chick was an assassin. She was a slave in some for years. She can take care of herself for a little bit. Like, let her go out for the night and let her do her thing in the dungeons and the catacombs. She will be fine. Still, they were just all like, well, I'm going to take care of her. No, I'm going to take care of her. I'm like, can we at least be a team and take care of her? Like, we have to really fight over her? Like, holy crap. I felt like the testosterone in this book was a little bit too high. Just felt like some characters were sacrificed so you would like other characters more. And I do not agree with that. I do not like that. So I'm hoping to see, you know, a little bit growth with Chaol next book. If he's with Nesserin, whatever. Like I said, I'm kind of feeling like the Chaol Aelin thing's done, and I get that, but there's still a big chunk of me that's holding out hope because she still cares for him. She still is obviously like BFS with him, but I don't know. I just feel like it could have been better. He could have been written better. He could have been not so the way he was. And the last thing I'm going to talk about I didn't really love is the whole Celaena Aelin difference. Throughout this whole book, she was like, this is the last time I'll be Celaena. I'm going to bury Celaena Sardathius forever. Like, I am Aelin. And I'm like, I get that. I get that you're a queen. You've fully embraced who you are, and that's great, but you can't just bury your past behind you and never think about it. That's not who we are. There's a lot of us that walk around with scars on us. If they're physical or if they're internal, that's part of who we are. the past shapes us. It makes us how we are. It's how we grow. We learn from our past. We embrace our past. It becomes us. And I felt like Aelin was just like, Selena is a part of my past. I'm going to bury her out in the backyard and no one's ever going to see her again. I'm done with her. And I'm like, no, you were an assassin. You have learned a lot of things about Selena. You are Selena still. You are Selena Aelin. The name change, whatever, I'm fine with. But the part where she just wanted to be done with her, that was it for her. I get that she's done a lot of bad things as Selena, but you have to embrace that. You have to be okay with who you were in the past, because you didn't realize, you knew like deep down probably all along you were Aelin, but I mean, I don't like that. I don't like that she wants to separate those two entities when they are the same person. She is the same person. And so I really did not like how she wanted to do that. So she just needs to learn that Selena and Aelin are quintessentially the same person. She can't bury Selena. I have the hiccups, I apologize. Can't just leave Selena behind. Selena is her. She has to learn to embrace her past and be okay with it, with all the mistakes and horrible things she's done. Yeah, let's talk about what I want to see next. Next, obviously, I want to see more about the Duke. Eroth, whatever his name, really inside of him. The elite reach Aelin. I think she has a word key, so that's going to be interesting. I want to see the Queen Mauve and Aelin face off. I want to see the Queen Aelin with Erwan face off. Obviously, that's going to be all at the end books. I want to see more of the witches, and I want to see Manon and Aelin team up and just be very like jerky to each other, but still have that great like friendship. That would be great. I want to see more Lasant. Like I said, this book has so many good things to go with it. I really loved it still. The Selena Aelin thing, I just really didn't enjoy, so it knocked off a star for me, because reading it, I was just so frustrated about those things that I couldn't get over it. And when I think more about Selena or Aelin and Rowan, I think, yes, they're a great couple, but I don't know what's going to happen in the future. I was thinking of possibilities, because Rowan is immortal. He's lived a long time. Aelin is not immortal. She is a human. So I was thinking, either somehow she's going to become, which I'm thinking is probably going to happen, somehow she's going to become immortal and they'll be together forever and it'll be great. And so that's one scenario. The next scenario, they realize, yeah, let's be together for as long as I live. And then, Rowan will go off and, be alone and broody for the rest of his life and all that stuff. Or it could be like, well, what's the point of being together, because I'm going to die one day and then you're going to be forever here. So they need to end it, and maybe Kale will come back in the picture. Yeah, that's probably not going to happen. But I think that one of those things is going to happen. We're going to have to address that. And speaking of that, the whole Kale and Aelin, that they finally had a confrontation and finally had a talk, and it only took like 500 pages to get to. I was like, really? We waited this long for things that happened in the past. We could still be friends. I wanted more. I needed more. I'm like, we can't just shut off this huge chapter of your life. Like, that's a big chapter. And just be like, we're friends. We're good. I still don't forgive you for stuff. And I'm just like, holy crap. I don't know. So overall, like I said, I still really enjoyed this book. I really enjoyed this series. It's such an awesome series, but I feel like it needs to be worked on in the next book. Tweak some of the characters and all that kind of stuff. I just really feel like that needs to happen. But overall, like I said, I really liked it. So I've read this book. Please let me know what you thought of it. Am I alone in the feeling about Kale or the Selena Aelin thing or the Rowan thing? I've accepted Rowan. I've accepted him and Aelin. Big chunk of me that wants Kale in there. A big chunk of me. But overall, I know that the ship is left the continent, okay? Okay. And you know what? Maybe I just want to see Aelin alone. I kind of do. I just want her to be like, you be a bad A alone. You don't need no man. Just be by yourself. And maybe that'll happen, maybe not. I don't know. But leave me a comment down below. Letting me know what you thought about this book, because I just want to have a nice, honest, open discussion about this book and this series and what your thoughts about it. What do you think is going to happen in the next book? Please let me know, and I will leave some video reviews of this book down below of people that I thought did awesome book reviews. So be sure to check them out, and be sure to click subscribe to see more book reviews and more of my crazy antics and all that kind of stuff. This video, a thumbs up, and I will see you guys next time.
I can't wait for mid-December, 'cause I got flowers in all my weather. Pray our Lord Jesus keep